looking at OT's antecedents and to do more. There's massive resistance to that for anything to stop him from doing his work. You can see the kind of pressure that is coming from the presidency and from everywhere, and he resisted it, meaning that he stood alone and took that leadership. So from that, he has what it takes to resist any influence of any agenda, Fulani agenda in that state.
This is a very good, welcome development. And Lex OT resisting the agenda of Fulani, resisting their agenda, resisting their plan and their conquest on the people of Abia State, not like the Uzodinma and co, and the governor of Enugu State and the one of Ebonyi State. So what Alex Oti is doing is totally the right thing to do, because those people, they need to be resisted. Those people, if you did not resist them on time, there will be a stage to reach. You cannot resist them again. Their plan in Abia, they have seen that their plan cannot work. It cannot work, and the way Alex Oti is fighting them is the best way, because if we ignore them, allow them to be grazing in the states, the next thing they'll start killing people and start destroying things the way they are doing in the Middle Belt and the other parts of Nigeria. So Alex Oti resisting their agenda upon the plan and all the old force from the presidency, but still yet he's trying to resist them. He did not give up. The governor is trying. He's trying his best to make sure that Abia is well secured, not like other states that cannot speak. All they are demanding, all they are looking for is only the money from the federal government, and how they will get money from the Fulani people and allow them to keep killing their people. But in this Abia state, in this Alex Oti system, his system of leadership is very nice. It is a very good, welcome development. Well, I would like us to watch this video to the end. The man explained a lot, but the issue between ESN and the Abian state governor, how they have been going through, and the things that have been happening for some days now. So he explained so much. He's a Biafran activist. He understands the truth and what is happening in the system. As you're watching the video, like, subscribe and share it to everyone to see what is happening in the Biafra land. Thank you.
Finally, we've seen the Fulani accuse Alex Oti of using the ESN to fight them in Abia State, because Alex Oti recently came out and said what is ready to fight these Fulani elders and criminals perpetrating evil acts as against killing people on their farms, destroying their properties and what have you in Abia State. But we've seen the Fulani now, they are crying bitterly. They said Alex Oti has vowed or is using the ESN to attack them. What is your take as regards?
Attack. And that is why we have somebody like Alex Oti as the governor of that state. He's not in any alliance with anybody. He doesn't have any godfather. And we have continued to check his record and monitor his activities as governor in that state. And we discovered that he's the only governor in the eastern part of the country currently now that does not have any link with any Fulani emirs, Fulani leaders, or Fulani political class, or Fulani kingmakers, whatever you might call them. This is a man the Abia people came out, wholeheartedly fought for. And at least we know that at a point during that election, a gubernatorial election in Abia State, that a woman sacrificed his life for Alex Oti to emerge. And now that Abians are breathing some level of leadership, breathing fresh air of leadership. Even though we are still looking at OT's antecedents to do more, there's massive resistance to that for anything to stop him from doing his work. You can see the kind of pressure that is coming from the presidency and from everywhere, and he resisted it, meaning that he stood alone and took that leadership. So from that, he has what it takes to resist any influence of any agenda, Fulani agenda in that state. And the infiltration we are seeing currently in that state, as we are talking to you presently, we are going to hold Benjamin Kalu, the deputy speaker, responsible. We are going to hold Odzo Kalu responsible. We are going to hold every one of them we know that have been signaling, opening up the Fulani channels in that state. It can such thing actually happen in the north, in any part of the northern state? No, it cannot happen. They restrict their this thing to their religious belief and to their political class. Then why would we always now open to something that the whole world is against? Let them go and do their ranching in their respective states. And coming to Abia State, you are killing people. Look at what happened in a place like Mpa. Look at what is happening in Obingwa. And these are people that you cannot, just take for granted. And any day there's going to be a serious uprising. They're going to turn this situation, to do something Nigerian government and Nigeria as a whole, including the North, will not be able to believe. The Abians are not joking. Everybody is angry in the North. Every youth, everybody, as I can tell you, because that is the headquarters of the IPOB leader. That's where the IPOB leader himself, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, came from. And that state belongs to God. It is called God's own state. And we don't want any thing, that will disrupt the process of leadership we are trying to observe whether actually Alex Oti will offer. But from what you are seeing about Alex Oti gradually, I think he's moving towards that direction. We had a pressure from northern governors, emirs, and he resisted them. Another one came from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He resisted Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that he doesn't want anything, and he's not in any alliance with any Fulani, and he wants to run this Abia State. So name them. Are you talking about Mwifuru? Are you talking about Topu Zodima? Are you talking about Soludo? Look at Soludo. He came out recently and said that the Yamadua family promised me governor. The other man said, Abba Kyari made me governor. So you can see the link. You can see how these guys are undergoing pure political conquest against the Easterners. What you're seeing is there. What you're seeing these governors are planted by these people, so that when they carry out their nefarious activities of invasion, conquest, ethnic cleansing, extermination of the indigenous people, they will not be able to talk. And that is what we're experiencing now. Apart from Oti, who has set it up, structurally, that he know where to press, the button to press, what to touch, and there will be action in that regard. So the Fulanis are crying, and they will continue to cry. Abia State is not a place for them at all, and can never be a place for them. And ESN was founded in that state, and that is where ESN will see the last thing to happen in that place, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's return to Abia State will be something that has to be condoned of any footstep, any form of footstep, that has to do with Fulani, herdsmen, bandits, jihadists in that state will be totally wiped out, and it's ongoing, unchecked. Yes, I can tell you, ISN is unstoppable in Abia State. Nothing can stop them. And I want, even though Alex Oti is planning to, establish some common of, forest guards or whatever it is, he's trying to do at this point in time. Okay, it's commendable, but I can tell you, within the space, the vacant space, Abia communities and forests, the ESN has done, some jobs that when you look at it, you begin to wonder, how sophisticated these people are. But the fear is that, these people have stepped up a little bit. They are using some level of applying digital currency. They are also using drone. They are also acquiring more sophistication, from what information we are getting. But I can tell you, some level of the leadership of ESN, has already mapped out strategy, to take them out completely, right from the Abia state down to Otukpo, down to Kogi state, down to all the Biafran territories, and that is what they are doing. Forget whether the governors are inviting them or not. They have been trained and prepared, and that is the only mission why they were created. So they are created to make sure that no Fulani is able to be allowed inside the Biafran forest, and that is what it is. And I think to an extent, Alex Oti understand the need for that and the reason why it was created. It has become a global thing, a global joy. Everybody is celebrating Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, for that foresight and for understanding, for that revelation. Including the governor himself, they may not come up and tell you, but down inside him, imagine a situation where Mazen Nnamdi Kanu never foretold what was going to happen. Imagine the situation now, because of course these governors you are seeing now, they've already compromised, and that is why they are not popular. Nobody is listening to them. All of them will fail in 2027. I can tell you that they will not have anything to do. You understand? Because Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has become law and order, and anything he says is final, and that is what it is now. And ESN is spreading in terms of training, in terms of expertise, in terms of intelligence sharing, in terms of network, in terms of handling of modern sophistication and modern warfare arms, to make sure that the jihadists does not in any place have anything to do with any part of the Biafran land.
Okay, well, according to the report, the Fulani are saying that what Alex Oti, he said since the police and the Nigerian military cannot do their job diligently by by tackling or these Fulani's headers of causing mayhem in the southeast or in Abia to be particular, that's why he's using this ESN fight against them, and that from their intelligence report that ESN just recruited 50,000 ESN member, and at the same time that they even just got new weapons to fight them. What's your take as regards?
Yes, so the news went viral, and we got to know that because it has to do with a lot of intelligence, and which we will not be able to open up. There are people who has already gone to Russia for training. Some of them are already in Israel for training. Some of them are already in US for training. Some of them are already in the parts of the world for training. They are undergoing training because we don't know what is going to happen in the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, And just like Israel as a nation, we are prepared and we are preparing for the next generation. And that is what it is. The Eastern Security Network, is just the main purpose is to stop jihadists in the entire Biafran land. So the 50,000 recruitment is a welcome development, and you can see that the reason why a lot of Biafran youth are distancing themselves with any association with the Nigerian security, police, army, custom, and other. Most of them are enrolling to defend their father's land for the love of their fatherland, and that is what is happening. And you can see the massive result we are getting. It will be very difficult because they have vowed that, of course, that's the red line. They should know, the Biafran land is the red line. I think they are getting the message gradually. You can see what happened in Benue communities. You can see what happened in Delta State. They're everywhere. The ESN is even in Edo State currently now. Somewhere between the boundaries of Auchi and Ishana, within those forests. But a lot of people will not tell you, who they are. But we are getting information about their activities. I remember too, there are a series of forces, Biafran forces. There's Biafran Liberation Army. There's so many of them. They are also doing well and making sure that this thing does not get to a point where it will become a challenge. We will chase them to Fonta Jalon at the end of the day. There's no two ways about it.
Okay, and lastly, we've seen other governors, they don't come out to speak against this Fulani when they create mayhem there in the southeast. But Alex Oti has been the only governor that's confidently come out to talk against this Fulani invasion there in Abia and in southeast in general. But do you think that Alex Oti, with what he's doing now, do you think he can win 2027 election?
Of course, we do not need the presidency for him to win. What do we know?
Sure about that?
Yes, of course, I can tell you. He has the network, he has the wherewithal, he has the resources, he has the manpower, he has the structure, to continue. And look at his man also is in the presidency already, talking about P2B, and you can see the swelling, the popularity is swelling in the north, and from what P2B, Alex Oti is already doing in Abia State, there's nobody that will come and challenge him. You are not doing well. So it will be difficult to unseat him, and it is difficult to go against over 30 million people in Abia State. I can tell you that it will be very difficult. So his second term position is guaranteed in that party or wherever he's going to go. But I'm sure he is not going to APC. I can never go to APC.
They are ready to fight. Alex Oti for APC, give APC back to Abia State.
The Igbo youth has already told Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the governors and the political leaders, actors in the eastern part of the country is already deceiving him. They can be there with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but without no followers. So how do you rectify that? You call yourself a leader without followers, and that will be very significant when the 2027 election begins. When he will know now that the Igbo people are not smiling, and they can never smile, and that is what it is in Abia State, precisely. God's own state, the only God's own state in the world, in Nigeria, the first state in Nigeria, yes, and that's what it means called, is God's own state, and we will not allow any form of elements of Fulanis or whatever, politically or otherwise, to begin to showcase whatever they think they have. At the end of the day, the bulk of the matter stops right there in the northern part of the country, not even in the middle belt.
Thanks for tuning in to Smart Okoson TV show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to keep the intellect flowing.